Let's return now to the UK's decision to recognise a Palestinian state, which has been criticised by the US and Israel for rewarding Hamas. Here, some people have accused Sir Keir Starmer of using Gaza as a bargaining chip. Well, let's talk to Husam Zomlot, who is the Palestinian ambassador to the UK and is talking to us from Ramallah. Very good to talk to you today. In terms of the UK saying it will recognise a Palestinian state, is this any more than a symbolic gesture? Does this do anything to change the plight of the Palestinians?
No, recognition is not a symbolic gesture. It is a historic, legal, and democratic gesture, actually. Historic because of the role of Britain in the agony of the Palestinian people since the Balfour Declaration and the colonial era and the cancellation of the Palestinian people. And therefore, the recognition of the people of Palestine, the right of self-determination that is inalienable right of the Palestinian people is not symbolic. Number one. Number two, it is legal because then it will have serious consequences on the relationship between two states, two equal partners, and how do we deal with each other in the international forums. And number three, democratic, because the overwhelming support of the British people. And here is an opportunity to say to you, Jane, on behalf of the Palestinian people, a big, big thank you and gratitude for this solidarity, for the support, for the largest and the longest solidarity movement in the history of the UK in support of Palestine and Palestinian rights that have led to yesterday's decision. So this is not definitely symbolic. And I may also add in particular the moral weight it carries. It does represent a meaningful step in addressing the deep injustice that the Palestinian people have endured for almost a century. The systematic uprooting of our people from our land, the systematic oppression that has followed since the Balfour Declaration. So this yesterday was a significant day in the history of the UK and Palestine, and it moves us forward and in the right direction.
You say it's more than symbolism, but how would a Palestinian state exist? Where would the borders, for example, lie? How would you dismantle Hamas? You talk about democracy, but we haven't had an election since back in 2006 when Mahmoud Abbas was elected under a 4-year term. The logistics of this are very, very challenging.
What we need to dismantle first and foremost is the Israeli settlements, which is designed and built.
And how would you do that?
To prevent and to block the emergence of a Palestinian state. We do that by creating international consensus. Remember, it was Britain that has contributed to creating Israel. So Britain and the rest of the world has a responsibility to make sure that this does not continue, that this more than 30-year-old, actually 77-year-old business of Israel to undermine any possibility of peace, of a resolution or a state of Palestine through the building of the settlements, the system of control, this colonial system of control, the occupation, the colonization, the besiegement, the system of apartheid has got to end. So recognition is only a first step. It's almost the starting gun, if you may, but it would have to be followed by the equal and full application of international law. This is where we are going to work with the UK government to make sure that not only the state of Palestine is recognized, but also all the illegal practices, as per the ruling of the International Court of Justice, the unlawful occupation of Israel must be sanctioned, accountability must be upheld, and together in these two tracks, one that take us into a different direction, that is recognition, that is what is happening in New York, that is this international momentum towards a resolution in a short timeline of 15 months where the two-state solution is implemented rather than negotiated, why international law is upheld rather than discussed. And therefore, the second component is very important, enforcing international law, enforcing accountability, enforcing sanctions. And the UK has taken many steps in this direction, including imposing sanctions on the illegal settler militias, the terrorist settler militias that are attacking Palestinian villages and towns and people and burning properties and houses and killing our people, including international citizens and American citizens, but also has gone some way in the arena of arms embargo, not complete, and we need to make sure it's full arms embargo, has gone some way in the arena of sanctioning some Israeli ministers. However, we need to continue this path, because without this path, without the carrot, and the carrot is the recognition, and the stick, which is international law, we will not get where we want to go. And that's why I believe that yesterday was historic in every sense in finally breaking this vicious path and vicious cycle we have been in for many, many decades, and really going in the direction of international consensus, of Palestinian rights, and of enforcing law rather than negotiating law.
How will you, though, dismantle Hamas? How will you allow the people of Gaza the rights to live in peace and security without Hamas governing them? And how can you guarantee the people of Israel that a two-state solution can exist that will not have people from inside the Palestinian territories attacking Israel?
The only guarantee of security for Israel and for everyone else is the security of the Palestinian people. And I have to remind you, Jane, that it is we whose security has been infringed, breached, and it is we that have been at the brunt of this brutal occupation for 77 years. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who have been either killed, injured, or arrested without charge or trial. And the list is long about our house demolition and stealing our land and what have you. And I'm saying this to tell you that the only way forward for security is fulfilling the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people. Security is an outcome of peace. Security is not a prelude for peace. It's not a condition for peace. It is the fruit of peace. And my message to Israel and the rest of the region that without resolving and fulfilling the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people in accordance with international law and legitimacy, security will always be elusive. No matter how much violence Israel deploy against us, no matter how much the mass murder and the mass destruction and the mass starvation against us, our rights will not be undermined. And therefore, security is a pretext for denying rights. Today, we tell the world, let's go together. Let's walk together.
You're not addressing, though, Hamas. And I know the Palestinian Authority are not Hamas, and you were very, very different. But the fact is that Israel will say that a Palestinian state cannot exist while Hamas still exists. What can you do to dismantle Hamas?
Well, Hamas is a Palestinian matter. There was an Arab plan initiated by us and Egypt, endorsed by the Arab world, whereby Gaza, the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, is one territorial entity. The unity of the Palestinian people, the Palestinian geography, as in land, and the Palestinian political system. Gaza will be taken care of, cared for, provided for. One Palestinian government. That is us. There will not be Hamas in that government. There will not be any other political faction in that government. The formula is on the table, Jane. The one person on earth who blocks, prevents the PA and the Palestinian government from going back to Gaza is Benjamin Netanyahu. That is the fact. And he has been public. He said it in the Knesset. He has been supporting what was happening in Gaza for 17 years because he does not want to see the return of the legitimate Palestinian government to Gaza. He does not want to see the unity of the Palestinian people and system because he does not want the emergence of a Palestinian state.
But
This is
we must say that clearly Benjamin Netanyahu did not want what happened on the 7th of October to happen. You cannot lay that at his door.
No, ask him and let the investigation against him and his role and how he has been dragging this genocide for 22 months. And please refer back to a very lengthy document and report by the New York Times about how much he's been trying to drag this only to save himself and to care for his personal interest and to dodge the criminal charges against him.
Yeah, but he didn't carry out the attack.
The investigation in Israel against his strategy over the last 20 years that has gotten us where we are today.
He didn't carry out the attack, though, and it's clear that Hamas needs to be moved on from Gaza, doesn't it?
We are discussing now a historic moment where the British government, given the history we discussed, has decided to recognize the right of self-determination to the Palestinian people. This is a big day. As for Palestinian factions, we can discuss until the morning. You have the Palestine Liberation Organization, the PLO. You have the State of Palestine that Britain is about to recognize in a few weeks' time. The world must talk to us, and we are ready with the plans. We are ready with all the international support. We are ready to go in a different direction. Let us not look backward. This is a moment when our people are being starved every day in front of you, when Israel is criminally and in an evil manner allowing babies to die because of the blockade on the baby formula, the discussion has got to be the end of this genocide. The discussion has got to be the end of this starvation, and then immediately moving to the end of this occupation and oppression. As for Palestinian political factions, I assure you, the Palestinian people have their political system to resolve it.
We must stop there because we're out of time. But thank you very much. And it's very clear your views. Husam Zomlot, the Palestinian ambassador to the UK, thank you for joining us.